Nicotine addiction has become particularly worrisome among teens who vape. I'll have more details on what resources young people have to help kick the habit coming up.
I'm Mike Dennison in Helena. Coming up, a new development from our story last year on turmoil at the Corrections Department.
House Democrats have taken the first formal step in what could lead to the impeachment of President Trump. I'm Laura Podesto with how the president is reacting and why all eyes could be on a key meeting he has here in New York today.
Good morning to you. Exactly 6:30 here on your beautiful Wednesday morning, and it is going to be a nice day today.
Yes, it is.
Matt told us to hold on to that. We have his forecast here in just a moment. I'm Missy O'Malley with Chet Lehman. Our top story for you now, the House Energy and Commerce is holding a vaping hearing today.
Yeah, the acting commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration is among those scheduled to testify. This as health officials continue to probe into the health-related issues linked to the habit. John Lawrence reports.
Don't vape them if you got them. That's the message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
At this point, I think caution regarding all products is recommended.
The CDC says there's been at least 9 vaping-related deaths in the U.S. in just over the last month. That's in addition to the more than 500 cases of lung problems linked to e-cigarettes, some of which illegally contained THC oil.
We currently have Minnesota children who are on mechanical ventilation due to this vaping injury.
This week, Minnesota police arrested a man after seizing nearly 80,000 illegal vaping cartridges with THC. The street value, up to $3.8 million, according to police. Over in Los Angeles, protesters on both sides of the vaping issue making their voices heard.
The tobacco companies say that they're targeting adults, but they're using flavors that attract kids.
Once you stop how they're getting it, then it doesn't matter what flavor it is. There's still flavored alcohol out there. Why aren't we taking that off the shelf?
In a preliminary vote on Tuesday, the LA Board of Supervisors unanimously voted in favor of banning flavored e-cigs and tobacco products in the county. And Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker is calling for a statewide 4-month ban on the sale of vaping products. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Now, John tells us temporary bans on most flavored e-cigarettes are also instituted in Michigan and in New York.
And according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the rate of teen vaping has doubled in the past couple of years.
Yeah, so smokers can use a nicotine patch to kick the habit, but what can teen vapers do to kick the habit? TN's Gabby Crevitt has more on their options.
Tobacco usage among teens has surged across the country, and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention says e-cigarettes are to blame. With 8 confirmed vaping-related deaths across the country and the first case of vaping-related illness in Yellowstone County, the danger is starting to hit closer to home.
A good portion of the kids that we interact with that have these vapes will tell you they're trying to get off of them. So in my mind, that tells me that they're probably addicted to them.
Nicotine is a highly addictive substance, no matter what form it comes in, including vaping devices. And we also know that kids under 25 especially are more prone to addiction because their brain is still developing.
Adults hoping to kick the nicotine habit can use nicotine replacement therapy products like nicotine patches, nicotine lozenges, and even nicotine gum. These products all supply a very low dose of nicotine to help curb withdrawals throughout the process. But these products are only available to teens if they've had a doctor's approval, because these products have not been approved by the FDA for teenagers.
The healthcare provider will have some information about what nicotine withdrawal is like, so they'll be able to prepare your child for what that's going to be like. They might be able to provide some cessation aids depending on how old your child is and what other medications they're taking.
A healthcare provider will likely direct teenagers to the natural route to cut addiction, and there's a new support program aimed specifically to helping these teens.
Fortunately, here in Montana, we just got this new program called My Life, My Quit, and it's a free program for Montana youth from ages 12 to 17, and basically it just offers free coaching, and the coaches help the youth to develop a quit plan.
Teens can use the toll-free hotline to text or call a coach when they're in need of support. But education continues to be where most efforts are directed in the fight against teen vaping.
So it's interesting that now we're having to talk about a program to get people off of vaping when vaping was designed to get people off of tobacco. I mean, that's how it was marketed.
In Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Now, Gabby tells us in an effort to get ahead of this problem, vaping education classes will begin for 5th graders and middle schoolers in Bozeman. later this year.
It's just unbelievable how much we've been talking about it.
Right.
It's in the news every single day.
Right. I think the thing that makes it harder is we're talking about it with younger children.
Yeah.
And
Right.
those patches and gum and that were
Are geared towards older people.
Finding ways to help them break the addiction is
Yeah.
it's a completely new world out there. We're having to find new ways to do that. So
Yeah, it's just
more
crazy.
to follow for
Yeah,
sure.
that's right. Matt joins us now. You said I'm supposed to hold on. My homework today is that I'm supposed to hold on to this nice weather.
The other part of your homework is go find your coat.
Yeah.
Boots, maybe a scarf,
It's
gloves.
buried someplace in that house. Temperature-wise, we're doing okay. We're into the 40s early on. It is a little cool. You may need a light jacket on the way out the door. Today's going to be a pleasant afternoon. As Missy was saying, enjoy the day. It will be a slight breeze in the skies or in the air, but really the temperatures in the mid-60s will be comfortable. We do have those big changes on the way, and they start, at least in part, by tomorrow. We're going to break it all down coming up in just a minute.
Enjoy the day.
Carpe sunshine. Seize the sunshine.
Okay, wrote that down. Thank you so much. All right. Now, late last year, MTN News reported on some controversy at the State Corrections Department and how some employees claim that they faced retaliation for logging sexual discrimination complaints against the director.
Now one of those employees is suing the state. MTN's Mike Dennison picks up the story.
Adrienne Cotton lost her job as the Corrections Department's Government Relations Director during a department reorganization last year. Last week, she filed a wrongful discharge lawsuit in State District Court in Helena. Cotton says in her lawsuit that the reorganization either eliminated or changed the jobs of 5 women who said they were sexually harassed by Corrections Director Reg Michael. Some of those women spoke to MTN last year, saying the director made discriminatory or demeaning comments to female colleagues. Cotton's lawsuit also says he implied to her that sexual favors could be exchanged for advancement within the department. An agency spokeswoman declined to respond, saying the department won't comment on pending litigation. A state personnel investigation last year also said the sexual harassment claims were not substantiated, and separate complaints by 2 of the women have been rejected by the State Human Rights Bureau. But a human rights complaint filed by Cotton is still alive and saw action last Friday. That complaint also had been rejected by the Bureau, but Cotton appealed that decision to the State Human Rights Commission. Last Friday, the Commission overruled the rejection, sending the complaint to a State Labor Department hearings officer for a full contested case proceeding. That case will proceed along with Cotton's lawsuit filed last Wednesday in District Court. Cotton and the women who spoke to MTN last year also say the reorganization has undercut efforts to enact a landmark sentencing reform legislation passed by the 2017 legislature, a charge the department strongly denies. In Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Now Mike tells us Cotton's lawsuit is asking for lost wages and benefits for a 4-year period.
And President Trump and his Ukrainian counterpart will meet today in New York on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly.
Yeah, a meeting that normally wouldn't draw much attention is now in the spotlight after a past conversation between the 2 leaders led to a formal impeachment inquiry against President Trump.
CBS's Laura Podesta is in New York with all of our details.
Accountable, no one is above the law.
House Democrats are moving forward with a formal impeachment inquiry into President Trump,
calling upon a foreign power to intervene in his election. This is a breach of his constitutional responsibilities.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi made the decision after a recent surge in support from moderate Democrats.
I have only one thing to say: full speed ahead.
It came following a whistleblower complaint and an apparent admission from President Trump that he pressured Ukraine's president to investigate a political rival.
But there was pressure put on with respect to Joe Biden. What Joe Biden did for his son, that's something they should be looking at.
CBS News has learned the president ordered the State Department and Pentagon to withhold hundreds of millions of dollars in military aid days ahead of the July 25th phone call. The White House denies it had any quid pro quo agreement with Ukraine.
But a president who believes he's above the law, pursuing the leader of another nation to investigate a political opponent to help win his election is not the conduct of an American president.
Republicans are so far sticking with the president.
They want to continue this witch hunt of trying to impeach the president because they don't agree with the results of the 2016 election.
The Trump administration is expected to release a transcript of the phone call today.
It was a perfect call.
The House and Senate Intelligence Committees are both trying to set up interviews with the whistleblower. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Now we're told Pelosi has set a Thursday deadline for the Trump administration to hand over the whistleblower complaint to the House Intelligence Committee. CBS News has confirmed the White House and intelligence agencies are discussing ways to allow the whistleblower to share information in the original complaint with those lawmakers.
And Montana Governor Steve Bullock says he too supports moving forward with the impeachment.
Bullock's presidential campaign released a statement saying in part, quote, if the president abused his office and jeopardized American national security for his own personal gain, then the House needs to impeach him.
Republican Congressman Greg Gianforte last week criticized current investigations into Trump, saying there are more serious issues facing our country, quote, and yet this committee is hot under the collar with impeachment fever, driving the committee to neglect those serious issues, unquote.
And Republican Senator Steve Daines' office said in a statement, quote, Steve believes the Democrats sound like a broken record with their 2+ years of impeachment threats. On Ukraine, Steve believes now isn't the time to speculate and look forward to hearing the facts.
And a spokesman for Democratic Senator John Tester says, quote, withholding the report from a co-equal branch of government is unprecedented and it's dangerous. We believe we have to get the facts from the IG report before we can talk about those next steps, unquote. So a lot more to follow on this, especially as this other meeting takes place today in New York.
Story that will be picked up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Absolutely. We do have to take a quick break. When Montana This Morning returns,